Hello, everyone. It's Coach Mo Fall here. I have a very common topic that I'm going to handle in a very uncommon way. We've all heard about setting up boundaries. We've all heard about saying no. We've all heard about pushing other people away so that we can maintain our own energy and our own sense of self and not be overworked and overburdened. And what if you could really not have to work harder and really setting a boundary is really about being in your power. Setting a boundary is a word or language that we're thinking means that there's some external barrier around us. And I'm going to turn this inside out today so that you can really understand what it's like to have your soul be in charge of your entire life. I'm going to dig deep on this topic. I'm going to talk about some clients who really rocked this methodology. This is what we do in our 12-week workshop. We take women from being living sort of normal human life of being altered and defined by others to being soul defined, to coming through your soul power and living and working from there. It changes everything. As we dive in, let me know you're here. Let me know where you're from. If you're one of my clients, I would love to say hello and just totally love on you and rock on you. So as we get into burning out and ignoring boundaries, there was a client I had at the beginning of this year. She worked her butt off for the company she worked for 12 years and had a boss who was unrelenting. She couldn't work enough. She couldn't do enough. She could never please this gentleman who had a military past. I'm not saying anything negative about the military at all. This guy was just very regimented and demanding. And this client of mine worked herself to the bone. She was not available to her family. She worked round the clock. There was no boundary that she was able to put up in order for her to feel that she was doing her work. She let her boundaries go so that she could serve her company and her team. And for her at this point, it was sort of about getting ahead, but it was more about actually feeling that she was doing what she was supposed to be doing and supporting her team. Now, a little caveat, fast forward months later, they replaced her with 3 individuals. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's me. I know what you're thinking. I let other people dictate to me also. And when we are trying to be good, trying to do our right, just job, trying to be the smart do-gooder that we were raised to be, we might miss the signals that at some point start to crater who we are. If other people are dictating what we must do, then it's real easy for us to see that we might be going astray. But after a while, we lose the optics on that because it becomes us who has ignored our boundary. It becomes us who puts our family 5th on the list. It becomes us who is depleted and irritable at the end of the day, thinking this is how we're supposed to work. This is what it's all about. This is how I will maintain my job. This is work. If I hear one more time, well, that's why they call it work, Mo. It's supposed to be like that. No, you can have a soul powered career. You can live from the soul's perspective. And when you do, it changes everything. So this particular client of mine ended up quitting her job. Why did she quit her job? She was so burnt out. She was so frazzled. She was so depleted that she couldn't work harder or be more satisfying to her boss. She was done. She had no more cards left on the table. And frankly, her family was sick and tired of her not being around and present. So she thought she would quit, take the holidays off, and then get right back into the job in January, look for jobs, get a resume out there, and rock and roll. End of January, nothing's happening. This woman was so depleted, she didn't even realize how much she had let her boundaries come down, how much she had let other people invade her energy, her space, her family. Face it, if you're burnt out and ignoring your boundaries, you have just put everyone else, including yourself, down on the list. And I'm going to say this: companies will take what they can get. They will take what they can get. And if you keep giving, if you keep donating blood, that's what I call it. You're just donating blood, donating blood, donating blood. While you're getting frazzled, your nervous system is like this, and you keep wanting to work harder because you're trying to fulfill an empty pit. You're trying to fulfill an empty pit. It will never get filled up. Your burnout and ignoring your boundaries is an endless, endless hole. And that's why it seems like the best thing to do is to quit, because you can't stop it. You're sucked so far into the definition of who you're supposed to be. You're so sucked into other people's expectations that you lose yourself. And this, my friends, is the exact reason why there's hundreds of books written about boundaries. Just say no. That only goes so far, because you can't say no to your boss or your teammates. You can't. And most of the women I've worked with, most of the women I've talked to on our complimentary career clarity call, they were working hard because they cared about their team. They cared about the other people they were working with, even in the light of having a boss who was demanding, unrelenting, or in some cases, downright toxic. One of the women who just enrolled with us last week in our 12-week kick-ass workshop had a boss who would swear, has a boss who would swear at her on the phone and then hang up, leaving her traumatized, and she doesn't know what else to do. Well, she can't do anything different about that boss. So what she has to do is collect herself back up and find a new environment. Just like the client I mentioned who ended up quitting her job right before the holidays last year, and nothing was going on for this woman. So she came across my ad or a Facebook Live like you're seeing right now, and she said, maybe I need some help. When that client entered our 12-week workshop, we began resurrecting her soul, bringing herself back. We have special techniques that we do week 1, getting out of the gate, bring your soul back to life. It was at that point that she realized just how beaten down she was. She didn't realize it. She just thought she was like overworked and it was going to take a minute. It didn't take a minute. It took more than a minute. It took really figuring out who she was at the deepest level and then healing. This is why what we do is so impactful for the women who we work with, because getting your soul back to life, getting that inner vitality of yourself, of your soul self, as the predominant factor in who you are is like miracles and magic. It really, really is, because it's the essence of who you are. When you're coming from that place, you don't need boundaries. Nope, you don't need boundaries. It's sort of like you have one of those invisible fences. When you are coming from your soul's power and your soul's truth, you don't need a physical boundary, because your soul's power is enough of a boundary. It is enough of a sense of self that you're not going to overwork or unprioritize your family and yourself. You're going to operate differently. I want to say something about the empaths of the world, because I hear this all the time. Well, Mo, I'm an empath. That's just how I roll, and that's just how I relate to the world. And what does that mean? So usually when I'm talking to a woman or coaching one in our 12-week workshop, when I hear that they're an empath, what I hear is that they are very porous in how other people's energy affects them. This is the same thing as not having boundaries. But if you put this identity that you're an empath, you're sort of putting your personality at battle with needing to set up boundaries. And this is a no win situation. I hope you're understanding what I'm here to say. And that is, if you have porousness, if you have other people's energy affecting you, if you let them in, of course you're going to get burnt out. And of course you're going to feel worn out by their energy. Being an empath is what all humans are. All of us can feel other people's energy. And as a matter of fact, all of us ought to be turning that switch on inside of us, because that is the best way to roll. But if you have become porous and you let other people's energy in, that's not being an empath. That's being a boundaryless human. And how that happens is because you think that your best way to navigate the world is to be able to take in other people's energy. We could probably do an entire week conference on this. No time for that today, but I want to give you some highlights and some insights into why this can be a disaster. Number one, if you identify yourself as an empath, I want you to replace that word with a human being. That's number one. Being an empath usually means that you have taken on a victim mentality of other people's energy dominating yours. So I don't know where that idea of an empath got started. I hear it all the time. It is not a healthy identity, and it is not a healthy way of perceiving yourself in the world. It means that you're claiming that other people's energy will dominate you. And I say, stop it right now. Stop letting other people's energy, dare I say, personality flaws to infect you. It is not your job to take in their energy. Oftentimes, women who I've worked with who say that they're an empath and feel victimized by powerful energy out there are typically from dysfunctional families. And what happens as we grow up in a dysfunctional family is we have to read everyone's energy because we're protecting ourselves from getting surprised, injured, sometimes hit, sometimes yelled at by an adult who has major flaws. Perhaps it's alcoholism, rageaholicism, perhaps even physical or sexual abuse issues have occurred. So what happens is that the human who is that injured has to pay attention to the energy and to what's happening as a self-protective mechanism. And it does end up being a bit of a dysfunctional personality trait. It can get fixed by bringing your soul back to life and healing some of that hurt. Now, there might be some mental health and some therapy that would also be necessary to do the healing. So this one person says, yes, I don't relate to the empath thing. And you just articulated why I'm annoyed by a friend who identifies this way. She does have that victim mindset. So that is true. And I've worked with hundreds of women who claim that they're an empath. And again, all of us as humans feel energy. It's how we're put together, and it's how the universe has been put together by our creator. We are in an energy field. All of us are living in an energy field that we can't see. There's energy through us, around us. We connect to the infinite field of energy instantaneously. And when you have openings energetically to allow other people's energy, typically it's negative energy, when you allow it in, it does affect your energy. It does affect what you're able to give out or not give out. And it often ends up being a depleted situation where you're taking on their energy and you're depleting your own energy. Let's call them energy vampires, in a word. So those energy vampires suck the energy out of an unwitting person who's trying to be nice and get along with others. And then you become burnt out and you're feeling like, I didn't set boundaries with that person. But boundaries, again, are an intellectual construct. What I'm suggesting that you need to do is to create an energetic field, which is what I call your soul. That energetic field of coming from within you is the thing that protects that invasion from energy vampires. So if you're burnt out and ignoring boundaries and you're trying to work hard and be loyal to your team and you've got energy vampires, it's not good. You're not going to be able to survive that. And I don't mean life and death, but like my client who had to quit her job to survive, that she was just completely depleted. She had nothing left energetically. And that means that her physical body was totally depleted and worn out. And when that happens, you physically and psychologically feel that there is no other answer than to quit. I am not a fan of quitting because that is defeat. And you get really into a victim status when you're defeated by energy vampires. Now, we can help you crawl out of that. We can help you repair from the inside out. I don't want you to have to be repaired from that level out, but I will say this. Here is the truth. You must re-energize your soul. I was going to say resurrect. I do use that word a lot. Resurrecting your soul. Some people take offense to that, but you're really resurrecting your energy self. You're pulling yourself back up. And if you had the view that I have in my 12-week program, you would see women with an aged face, with a torturous face at the beginning of the 12 weeks. And then as we take them back to their soul, we help energize them at a deep level. We bring them back in their truth and into their power. Over the weeks, we see that face becoming brighter, happier, calmer. Let's say it loses 10 to 20 years, and all of my coaches on my team and I remark about how this is an amazing transformation that happens. I had a woman who was saving for a facelift. She didn't want to invest in the coaching program, but she was saving for a facelift. And she said, I'm saving for a facelift. It's more important to me than my career. I get that that's how you might think. But I basically said to her, here's the thing. Invest in coaching, get your career going in the right direction, stop depleting yourself energetically, and your face is going to change. So you will get a facelift along with the coaching. And miraculously enough, she agreed that her career and her energy and her nervous system needed more help at this point. And she went ahead and joined us. And wow, did she succeed? And more than a facelift, she got a new job. She's making more money than ever. Her family is happier because she's happier, and they've got their mom back. And her husband has his wife back, which is always a great reunion. When you bring your soul back to life, everyone wins who loves you and who is around you. When you're burning out, not having boundaries, thinking you're supposed to work harder and harder. And as someone just posted, yes, more work is rewarded by more work, because if you want to get something done, give it to the busy person because they know how to get stuff done. And if you're one of those people, I know that your back has so much work on it. That is not the way to get ahead. And you will be taken advantage of as long as you play into that identity. Oh, I'm the one who gets everything done. Oh, I'm the go-to person. Well, good for you. The go-to person is getting burnt out and getting overused, overextended, and typically underpaid and underemployed. So if you're ignoring your boundaries, if you're working too hard, if you're depleted at home, if you're exhausted at the end of the night and you have energy for nothing more, if your weekends are all about recovering from the weekdays, you got a problem that needs to be fixed. It doesn't have to be that way. Many people do it that way, and some people call that normal. Okay, they spend their weekend dealing with the stress of the week, usually in dysfunctional, non-helpful ways, and then they lose their whole weekend and then back at it on Monday. One of the women who joined our workshop last week told me that she literally gets sick to her stomach on Sunday nights. Monday is like this terror that's coming. And I'm going to tell you what, I know what that feels like. I have lived those days. When I was in my career, I remember those days. I remember those evenings. And I would try to pretend like I wasn't feeling bad. And I would just like get out my book and organize my week. And okay, I've got this going on and that going on. And my stomach would be churning. Let me have another glass of wine so that I can soothe myself. Yeah, I did that. I did. And here I am surviving breast cancer, having gone through all of that and eventually finding my soul through that journey. I will tell you this: if you're an empath, please bring your soul back to life and realize that being an empath means that you've given yourself a personality identification that says other people can tread on me. If you're burning out and ignoring your boundaries and you're trying to get ahead, there is another way. That is exactly why we bring our clients' souls back to life and give them that life force thriving energy back through the techniques we do in week one. And then we help them really get clear on how powerful and talented they are in their careers. And once you have your soul back to life and once you know exactly what you bring to the table, now it's a different equation. Now you are able to leverage who you are and what you do in the world. That changes everything. And what it changes is your ability to talk about yourself in a powerful way. It changes your ability to earn money. And it changes how you approach work because you no longer will be approaching work as if you have to donate blood, and you will no longer be attracting energy vampires. That's the one thing that I want to leave you with this week. While you are burning out, ignoring your boundaries, or being an empath, you are inviting energy vampires into your world. It will hurt until you say no. It will hurt until you fix it. And once you do, you can be the most awesome version of you. You can up-level your career without being afraid of playing at that next level. Many of our clients are afraid of that next level of promotion because they're like, how can I possibly work harder? Well, I'm here to tell you your next level of your career is not harder work. It's not more work. It's more authority and responsibility. And if your soul is beaten down, there's no more authority and responsibility that you want to take because you can't. You're beaten down and depleted. How in the world could you take on more of anything? I mean, face it, if you're irritable at home, if you're depleted, if you're having to surf the couch because that's all you got left, by Wednesday, you're pretty pissed off about the week. By Thursday, you can't wait to get the weekend going. And if you have enough energy for Friday, you're lucky. And then Friday night, you're just into your weekend roll. I'm telling you this. I know exactly how you feel, and I know exactly how to help solve it and fix it. We've been talking about women and boundaries for 50 years now, I think. And we've been talking about women's rightful place in their talents and in their skills. And if you have education, expertise, and experience that is getting washed away by being burnt out and no boundaries, please book your complimentary career clarity call with us. Let's make an appointment to talk, to make sure that we can help you understand what's really going on. It's a diagnostic discussion because on that complimentary career clarity call, we're going to dive in and see what's going on. We're going to help you really understand what's at stake here. We're going to help you really grab a hold of whether we can help you fix this or not. And if you're burnt out and ignoring your boundaries and identify as an empath, I will tell you this: we can fix that and help you out a great deal and change your life forever. Those who love you will thank us. I actually just had dinner this past Saturday night with a client of mine who was flying into the local Florida area for a vacation. And she and her husband were here for a couple of weeks here in Florida. And what I want to say to you is this: this client's husband, her name is Kathy, This client's husband couldn't agree more with how much their lives have changed because she got out of a toxic, overworked scenario. She was overworking to try to appease everyone and to try to make it feel better for her. I know lots of women who, when they work a lot, they feel better. But if you're going down that dark black hole of no return, it doesn't ever end up being what you intended it to be. So she finally was able to up level and gain a new job in her educational field that she just loves. And she is soaring in her talent and expertise in that role. Her husband said everything's changed at home. They have actually upgraded their home. Their relationship with their kids is better than ever. Their relationship, husband and wife, is better than ever. And he actually got 2 promotions as well. The energy of the home changes when you bring your soul back to life. The energy of the home gets up leveled when you up level your soul. And then you're ready for that next job. So this husband was so complimentary to the work that we do that he almost couldn't believe how different she is, how different his wife is. And they've been married for, I think she said 26, 27 years. So they're together, all right? They have seen the ups and downs, raising kids, etc. But 3 years ago, she was the more miserable version of herself and not thriving. And now, after working with us and sticking with our program, she is thriving. And she's really having fun thinking about what's next for herself. We had a very delightful dinner, and she's off to enjoying a vacation with her and her husband since they're now empty nesters. And I will say this to you. She was burnt out. She had been ignoring her boundaries. She thought in order to go up in her career, she was going to have to use more of herself, and she just couldn't see how that was possible. So please know, when I'm talking about being burnt out and ignoring your boundaries, I'm talking about building your soul back up. I'm talking about helping you find the best parts of yourself and bring them back to life. I'm talking about you having a thriving life force that emanates from inside of you. And that is the surest, most truthful aspect of who you are. And I'm talking about you navigating your career and your life from that awesome perspective of who you are. It's a game changer. It's a life changer. It helps everyone around you who loves you to actually live a better life because they're watching you thriving. And now you're a positive effect. Now they're the person that they fell in love with or expected to be in their life. Now you're the real you. What a better gift that you can give yourself and your friends and family than to be the most awesome version of you. Now, if you're watching this and you're currently burnt out and you've been ignoring your boundaries for years, maybe decades, you might be thinking, this is too good to be true. There's no way that you can feel that good. I'm going to say that's not true. I'm going to say I have nearly 1,500 examples of women who have followed our proven formula, who have gone from burnout and lack of boundaries, who have gone from being an overly porous, depleted empath to really being in their power and living their truth, living their real truth, their natural gifts and talents expressed in the world, having better jobs, making more money, being a better wife, mom, mother, sister, a better daughter. It's possible for you too. And I want to say this to all of my lovely clients. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for following the path. If you're a client of ours and you have forgotten a few things or two that you learned in our 12-week kick-ass program, I'm going to remind you to dive back into the online resources. Once you work with us in our 12-week workshop, you have lifetime access to all of the resources and all of the trainings that you had access to. It is a lifelong resource. It pays over and over again in how you navigate life and who you are. We've had women land that next job and that next job using those exact resources again and again. And because my coaching team and I are so on top of things, we're always upgrading those resources. So women who were in our workshop 6+ years ago have an entirely brand new resource library that they have lifetime access to. I'm super proud to have that aspect to what we do because we really focus on a powerful outcome for 12 weeks while we're working with you. My coaching team and I are dedicated for each and every one of our women to getting an absolutely positive, awesome outcome in their soul and in their career while we're working together. And then that lifetime access continues to be a gift. Oh, thank you very much. I don't know who you are, client, but thank you very much. Modules are gold. I still use them regularly, as you ought to. They are a continue food of strategy and energy on your continued journey of life and career. This goes on. If you're in your mid-career level, you've got 15, 20, maybe 25, or even 30 more years of a career. Do it the way that is powered by your soul. Do it the way that comes from your truth and your essence. If you're in your mid 30s and you make a change now to be soul powered, you have 30 more years of earning at a higher level, 30 more years of feeling into your power, not making the mistakes as you run up the career ladder. It's literally millions of dollars in earnings for your family, your future, and your financial security. How about if you do it right from this point forward? You do it from your soul powered version of you and you stop doing it as a burnt out, boundaryless, empathic, porous human being. How about if you absolutely own the power of your soul and who you are, and you come from that place in every move, every day of your work life, every day of your family life, that you come from the essence and the power of who you were meant to be and divinely destined to be by your creator. That is living. That is not being even close to burnout and ignoring your boundaries. How about if you enjoyed Mondays again? How about if you enjoyed every single day of working with your colleagues and feeling awesome and great, and that you were the fullest expression of what you're all about in the world and making the highest level of income as a return for that contribution and feeling so satisfied that your contribution in the world and your compensation of the in your job matched up and felt like the most perfect match. Isn't that awesome to think about? If you would like to pursue that, and again, for professional women with education, expertise, and experience, if you're burnt out and ignoring your boundaries to get ahead, if you're an empath who have let too many people enter into your energetic being and you're sick and tired of being washed out, bled out by energy vampires, now's the time to book your complimentary career clarity call and get the train moving in a different direction. Your future deserves it. You deserve it. Your soul deserves to come back to life, and certainly your family and friends. But most of all, you. The power of your soul is your responsibility, and it's up to you to bring it back so that you can be the best version of you in life and you can enjoy life on your terms. That is what we do. I am career coach Mo Fall, the founder and creator of our kick-ass soul-powered career methodology, where we help women bring their souls back and land their dream job, get promotions, up level, all without not working harder, all without not burning out and having no boundaries. We do it all in a way that honors your soul and honors your power. Let's help you get that for your life as well. Again, Coach Mofall, mofall.com. Your complimentary career clarity call is mofall.com/talk, or the link below or near this Facebook Live, or if you're listening to me on my podcast. Click on mofall.com/talk, and we will help you see what it looks like to bring your soul back to life and land your dream job and live the way that you desire. This is Coach Mo. We'll see you again next week on Coach Mo Live.